Good morning, North Carolina, and welcome to your morning broadcast on THNK News. Today we start out with some news on plant hormone Florigen, and the story is unbelievable. Florigen hormone and its downstream processes are important for plant growth, flowering, shoot elongation, and the production of fruit. According to ongoing research, specifically on the plants Arabidopsis thaliana and tomatoes, Florigen is controlled by the FT and the TSF genes within plant DNA. But to give us more insight on the science of this molecule, let us go to Kyle Fahey, our local expert in plant biology. Kyle?
Florigen is a hypothetical molecule, which means we have evidence that it exists in some form, but we haven't pinned down what it is. The evidence we have is based on grafting experiments and the fact that many plants flower based on the amount of light hitting the leaves, or the seasons. There must be some connection between the leaves and the flower, and that connection is Florigen. We have found a sizable amount of data on the genes that control Florigen and its effects, which is arguably just as valuable. We need funding to continue to find more information and unlock the full potential of this research. We could speed up flowering and lower the cost for crossbreeding and harvesting species that take a long time to mature, so you can look forward to more selection in the fruits aisle of the grocery store. We could also make crops that produce fruits earlier in the season, meaning that you don't have to store food for as long or import it from other countries.
Thank you, Kyle. While we do have sizable information on the molecular aspects of this hormone, further research would allow for a deeper understanding of how this molecule impacts plants, and therefore humans, since a large percentage of our diet consists of plants. Now, for any of you salsa or pizza lovers out there, next we go to an expert on tomatoes. But don't worry if you haven't bought any lately. Farmer Brian Ford is here to explain the impact that Florigen has on our local grocery produce aisle. Brian?
Flowering is extremely important to me as a farmer. If I can make my crops flower early, I can potentially give more time for the fruits to get energy and increase yield. Mutations in the Florigen gene of my plants can affect the structure and flowering capabilities of my tomato crops. These changes will result in the crops producing flowers earlier in the season, and this would also keep these flowers present for longer periods of time. This would maximize the fruiting potential of my crops, and I would be able to produce more tomatoes than ever before. Florigen research would help all types of agriculture and would yield greater harvests for a smaller cost.
Well, I certainly think you're ripe about that. Thank you, Brian. Crop productivity of multiple types of plants can be altered by modifying the Florigen pathways. Whether you're into science, agriculture, or just love food, most can agree that further research on the basis of Florigen would be beneficial for a number of reasons. But research does mean funding, and some argue that the money put in would not be worth the uncertainties. Here to talk about the logistics of research funding is Representative Robert Fernandez.
Hi, I'm Robert Fernandez, representative for North Carolina's 4th Congressional District. I and my other fellow colleagues are always looking for great and innovative ideas to promote the welfare of both our state and our nation. From the information provided to us for our own research, this Florigen idea sounds like a real knockout of the park. With more tax dollars going towards research and development, the money will be in the brightest of hands. Jobs are yet another welcome addition to Carolina. Fields ranging from agriculture to mechanics and scientific research all hold well-paying jobs that can support a multitude of families over a long run. If Florigen kicks off well enough through research funding, our district's commercial center will experience a noticeable boost in both production and sales. These profits go right back into the consumer's pockets as they purchase products that can be made faster and more efficiently. Agricultural innovations are at the forefront of our society, and they help to clothe us, feed us, heal us, and further enrich our lives. Once a concrete plan has been set up for research of Florigen, I would expect more members of Congress and the House to come aboard.
Thank you, Robert. Florigen is a well-talked-about molecule within the science and agricultural communities, but the conversation has expanded further to educate the general public on how Florigen impacts you and the world. Thank you for tuning in to our segment on Florigen. I'm Ashley Fuchs, and this is THNK News. Have a plantastic evening.